good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, depending on what time zone you're in or what time you're watching this video. If you're here, thank you for joining us. We're looking forward to seeing some Ren and Sam Tompkins. I don't think I've ever heard Sam Tompkins before, but Ren we've obviously heard of, as you might have been able to tell from 90% of the videos on the channel. Which brings me to my next point. We will probably be exploring some Ed Sheeran and some NF, because NF dropped a whole new album and Ed Sheeran dropped a couple new songs. So I'm really excited to get into that as well. However, today we're here for Blind Eyed by Ren and Sam Tompkins. And I'm excited, so why not jump right into it? But before we get started, love you all, make sure you're having a great day, and let's get right into it.
Hey, we're here for Music Crowns. My name's Ren, and this is Sam Tompkins, and we're going to play one of our songs called Blind Eyed. Thank you, I hope you enjoy it.
One thing I love about Ren, it's like whether he's singing, whether he's just playing the guitar, whether he's just talking, you can see that everything he does, there's a deliberateness to it, and he's really, like, when he's playing these notes, he's getting really into them, and I love that because he falls away into his music, and that's like a true sign of an artist. Love that. I'm gonna go back just so you can see that, but it's so cool. Watch when he starts playing, like he's really just like diving into it himself. So cool. Look at his facial expressions. I love that.
This lighter don't work, no. No flame to spark my goal. My Nike's laced in dirt. Oh. I've ended up treading on my own soul.
Wow. Oh man, I love that. So couple things there. One, he said, my lighter don't work, no flame to spark my goal. That's such a unique way to say it. Like, it's basically like you're at that point where you're almost like having writer's block, or you're just, you feel like you're at a loss for creativity at times. That's what that feels like we're talking about. Or just like that drive to chase after your goals is just not there. And like anyone who's kind of suffered from kind of just like being just exhausted of doing something, pursuing something for so long, and then it's just not working out for a while, and then you kind of just start to run out of that juice to keep going. That's kind of that vibe I'm getting. You even hear, like, you can hear the exhaustion in Sam's voice. Where that was such a great ad lib. I love that. Also, he says, Nike's laced in dirt. I've been treading on my own soul. There's two layers of that. One is soul, like the sole of a shoe, but then also soul, like your soul, like your heart and soul. And it's almost like he's saying that, like, internally he feels like it's just muddled, it's just messy, because it's laced in dirt after treading in his own self, in his own mind, or in his own soul. What a beautiful way to phrase that. I love it. And also, Sam Tompkins, your voice is silky smooth, my man. I love it. Okay. And shout outs to Ren supporting in the background right now. I love this. Oh my god. It's live performances, especially ones that are done really well, which is what ultimately made me fall in love with Ed Sheeran's music. Just, there's nothing quite like it. Like, just seeing a live performance sound better than like most recorded. I don't know what the recorded sounds like this, but this sounds like amazing. So I'm assuming this is probably better than the recorded one too. But the live versions, just, there's something unique about being a part of that experience, and I love that.
Treading on my own soul. Yeah. My headphones only working on the left side, but I try to live the right life. My eyes wide and I strive to stop my demons gripping, ripping from the inside. This road is dark.
Whoa, Sam Tompkins. What was that transition? The music switched up. We got a bit of a speedier beat. It's like now we're starting to feel that urgency, but also Sam's voice, the control, the inside. I can't do that riff. That riff was solid. That was so solid. I loved it. And then something that's kind of interesting. My headphones only working on the left side, but I still strive to lead the right life, because it's like your left side, but you're trying to live the right life, and it seems like everything's going wrong, not the direction you're going in. But also, it could be like a metaphor for like not being able to afford things that you want to afford because you're living such a tough life, right? If you don't have headphones that are working properly, that means you probably couldn't afford to buy new headphones, and that in of itself can be such like a problem because it means you're lacking the funds. And maybe this is ultimately why there's this focus on not being able to reach your goal too, because part of your goal is getting that creativity out, but you can't do that, and that's what's causing you to not be able to even have the funds to support yourself in that sense. That's crazy. I'm gonna go back a second because honestly, like just hearing Ren's guitar kick in there, I got lost in the music. That was so good. Just listening to that transition.
My headphones only working on the left side, but I try to live the right life. My eyes wide and I strive to stop my demons gripping, ripping from the inside.
Ooh, my eyes wide, like you're in shock because you feel them trying to get out. You feel your darkness trying to push its way through and escape into the world, and you're trying to keep it at bay. You're trying to keep it dormant, and it's like you're struggling. Your eyes are quite literally wide. It's like white knuckling through it kind of thing. My God, and look at Ren. I love when he's playing. He's so into the music. He's like lost in it, and you can see him kind of like just looking on to Sam in this like appreciative way, and I love that. The dynamic these two share, solid, so solid.
This road is dark and I can't find the batteries for my flashlight. I'm blind-eyed and I'm tired.
What? Wow, the vocal control on this dude, holy smokes. That was amazing. Shout out to Ren too, who added in the drum beat by stomping on the floor, like the bass that we're getting from it. And then just the whole visual of this is like the road is dark, right? And that's what life feels like. It's like you're not really necessarily given always a pathway to follow, and sometimes that pathway is dark, and it ultimately sets you down this road where you're struggling and you're feeling like you're encumbered by everything. And what he's saying ultimately is like he doesn't have batteries for his flashlight, right? It's like we were talking about the spark for the flame for the goal, but here we don't have batteries for the flashlight because we can't see everything as clearly as we want to. Everything feels dark, everything feels dim, and it feels like it's encroaching this darkness. And that's what it feels like when we can't kind of find our way out of our demons. And that's what he's saying here. And he's saying I'm blind-eyed and I'm tired. Obviously I have the lyrics here, but I'm blind-eyed and I'm tired. And it's just like you're exhausted. You're blind-eyed because you feel like you can't see the right way to go. You can't see the way out of your struggles, of your problems. But also it's just exhausting being in that mind space for so long. Anyone who's dealt with like a stress for a long time, it has its long-term effects, its lasting effects, and part of that is just being tired and exhausted from everything that happened. But holy smokes, Sam coming in with like that was amazing. What a control on the voice. I'm gonna go back just to hear that.
I'm blind-eyed and I'm tired.
What? Oh, wow, their dynamic is amazing. I knew Ren could sing, obviously, but that was like as much vocal control as I think Sam had. Just the pitches these guys are hitting, that's so hard to do, guys. You can see the strain they're putting into it. You can see like their neck, you can see it stretched, or not stretched, but stressed because of how much strain they're putting into their voice hitting that note. But it's just perfect. It's so perfect. And the switch up on the beat, my God, it almost had like a bit of a reggae vibe to it, and I really enjoyed that. Oh my God. Okay.
These drugs don't work.
Oh, did you see that little facial expression? Drugs don't work. And then it's the same thing that Sam did, except Sam did like that, the tisk. His was like a facial expression expressing his disdain. Okay, I'm loving it. Also, these drugs don't work. It actually makes me think about going back to what Sam had said at the start, where like this lighter don't work, no flame to spark my goal. It also could be related to drugs, or sometimes where people use those to fuel their creativity. It also could be like a head nod to that. It doesn't have to be, but that's also another way to think about it. That's super cool.
These drugs don't work. Pain, it takes control. I've got a blood-stained shirt. And I feel like I'm always being chased by the devil.
Okay, hang on. Holy smokes. First of all, Sam with the vocal assist, just solid. But Ren, just the way I was talking about it at the start, but you can see it now. He like sinks into this person, that like the music, the lyrics that he's providing, he sinks right into it, and you can feel the emotion being carried by his voice. And that's just something you don't see in a lot of artists. Quite like there's very few artists that, like, when they are trying to express emotion, they usually express it lyrically, but through the way that they're singing, it's not always possible. Ren, infallible in the way that he can do that. It's just amazing. And yeah, Ren is basically saying like he also, like, the drugs don't work, right? He's been trying to kind of limit this pain, and it's just not working. And this is the experience. This is actually the experience that Ren has probably had for a very long time, where you're trying to kind of not bottle it up, but like try to get rid of it, trying to detox from all this pain, but nothing seems to work, even the drugs that you're given. And that's just frustrating, right? Because ultimately you're turning to these drugs in the hopes that, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be like recreational drugs, it could be like actual drugs you're prescribed, which is what was in Ren's experience. And when they don't work, it's like you're at a loss, and now at this point you don't even know what to do, because it just feels like everything's falling apart, which is what's kind of being echoed by Sam's earlier verse. But then on top of that, he's got a bloodstained shirt, which kind of alludes to that there's issues, whether they're health issues where you're bleeding, like a bloody nose or something along those lines, or whether it's blood because you kind of do like a fight or something from all the stress. Maybe you tried to fight someone to relieve some of that stress, and that's what happened. You got a bloodstained shirt, and he feels like he's always being chased by the devil, because it feels like the devil has marked you and is like, you're gonna suffer. You're the one who's gonna take the suffering. I'm gonna make sure your life is a living hell. And sometimes life feels like that, where it feels like all the bad things in the world are happening to you, because it's just, there's tough times that we go through, right? But what's important is knowing that, like, we're not alone, for one, right? And even if that devil is on your shoulder, even if it's following you around, you've got the support of others around you, right? And that's just this whole song. I'm sorry, I'm going off in multiple directions, but like, my God, the way this song is put together is so well done. Just the way they bounce back and forth off of each other too. Every time Ren starts to kind of say his part, and then Sam hits with this vocal carry, and it's kind of following the same like feeling that you would be having as Ren. Oh my God, so good.
Chased by the devil.
Hear that crescendo? It's like you're being chased by the devil. You're almost like you're screaming out, and it keeps getting higher and higher. Whew. And I think we're about to see a cool vibe from Ren here.
By the devil. I tried to talk, but I couldn't seem to get my spoken words right. And I tried to keep my stutter light.
Oh my God. The try to keep my stutter light, because it's like, like, especially if you're someone who's ever dealt with a speech impediment of any sorts. There's an individual named Matthew Mercer who talks about this a lot, but like, and if you don't know him, you should follow him. Critical Role, awesome show about D&D, love it, it's fantastic. But when you're trying to kind of keep everything under control, it becomes harder to kind of manage some of the other things you're going through. So if you're someone who has like a speech impediment of any kind, whether it's a slur, whether it's a stutter, whatever it might be, when you're under a lot of stress, it kind of limits your ability to reduce that speech impediment. And so then you start to stutter, like he mentioned, right? And this is what's happening is he's got all the stresses in the world kind of coming up into his mind that he can't even get his spoken word right. Right. And that's what he was just saying. He just can't seem to get it right, because everything seems to be disjointed, disconnected because of all the stress. But on top of that, you can't even deliver it properly because of the fact that now your mental faculties that are kind of dedicated to minimizing the effects of the speech impediment are also kind of turning up. But also, a lot of people, when they get nervous, to start to stutter, right? Like if you're getting anxious, nervous, scared, you start to stutter, you start to trip over your own words, and it could be a combination of the two.
Spoken words right, and I try to keep my stutter light. And this life can be ish right, cut you like a flick knife, twist and make you sick right. And I think maybe I'd be better off alone. So
It's the voice of an angel. Holy smokes. But we're talking about life and how life can be cruel. This is kind of what we've been talking about. It feels like you've been stabbed. It feels like you're quite literally, it's trying to bleed you dry. It's trying to bleed you out. So it's stuck that knife in and then it turns it, right? And that's just like, it's the way that it makes you feel. And it's like you start to feel sick as a result. And it's not even like literally, it's not just metaphorically, it's also can be literally that all that stress builds up and causes your body to start to kind of shut down in certain areas that causes like an illness or some sort of disease to kind of rear its head. And that's what he's saying. Oh, and Sam's voice. Oh my God.
I redirect the calls from my phone. I learned so many lessons from depression, but in essence I'm just wishing that these bad thoughts were gone.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. When you're going through those times, like you don't realize it, but you learn a lot when you're in a bad spot, like in a bad state of mind. A lot of people, like, you don't want to be in that state of mind, but when you're there, it actually teaches you how to be stronger, right? And this kind of goes back to something that we talked about in Illest of Our Time, where it's like depression can actually be a teacher, right? It can actually teach you how to handle these kinds of situations, and that's what it's doing. It's giving us lessons here. That's what he's saying. But even when you're in it, even knowing that there's good facets to it, still you don't want to be in a time of depression. You don't want to be in a time of great sorrow, stress, or sadness. That's not what you want in life. And yet still it's there. And it's a struggle. And it's a struggle that we deal with, right? That we deal with basically every day, depending on the situation. God damn. My God, this is great. Just the vocal switch up too that Ren just did was so dope.
From depression, but in essence I'm just wishing that these bad thoughts were gone.
Yeah.
Oof, this really reminds me of like the vocalizing in chalk outlines and how to be me. Just like it's almost like this is your internal cry out for help, and that's what we're hearing now, and it keeps building, it keeps mounting to a point where like it just becomes too much, right? And that's what that highest pitch kind of ends up being. But my oh my Sam, goddamn dude, your voice is beautiful. Holy smokes. Another beat switch up.
Yeah. Sometimes
I get
Oh, you know you can tell Ren is so into it. Look at just his expressions as this part comes up. I knew Ren was about to come in because you could see him kind of getting into the persona. Oh my God, he's so cool, Ren. God damn it.
Sometimes I get these times when it's like time works against me. In my mind, I kind of mind that my mind can torture me. But you see, I rhyme. Because when I rhyme, it's like my rhymes can set me free. I shine so bright. I shine these times, these rhymes come out of me. Times I bleed, times...
Okay, hang on. Wow. That was some beautiful spoken word poetry right there. Like, just immaculate. And we dropped out the music. It almost felt like it became introspective. Like you kind of sit down for the first time to talk to yourself and be like, listen, what's going on, right? Because sometimes like when you're in problems, when things are going on, you don't really think about them too much. You don't want to think about them too much. And you just hope they kind of go away on their own. But eventually you kind of have to sit down and be like, listen, I need to take some time to reflect internally and think about what's going on. And that's kind of what feels like we just had happen there, right? Where it's almost like Sam led us into the self-reflection. So maybe again, this is kind of like a dynamic of kind of different parts of yourself, and Sam kind of directed us to Ren, who is now introspectively thinking. But what a beautiful piece of poetry he just said. Sometimes I get these times where it feels like time is against me, and it's like, yeah, because it feels like you're running out of time, and it feels like anything that you do feels like it's not having an impact. So it feels like you quite literally are, time is against you, right? And then what was it? In my mind, I kind of mind that time. No, hang on, let me find it here. I had to find the lyrics. I lost it here. Give me 1 second. uh no, I don't see it here, so I'm gonna have to go back and listen. Sorry about that.
Sometimes, 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 sometimes.
Sometimes I get these times when it's like time works against me. In my mind, I kind of mind that my mind can torture me. But you see, I rhyme. Because when I rhyme, it's like my rhymes can set me free.
I mind that my mind can torture. In my mind, I kind of mind that my mind can torture me. Wow. Because you're saying you really don't appreciate that the thing in your head can torture you so much, right? It's not even, sometimes it's not even that there are bad things happening out there, but there are bad thoughts happening in here. And it makes things feel so much worse. And that's what it gets to at some point. And you're just like, I can't, I don't want to deal with it anymore, right? Like, I really don't appreciate it, mind. Please stop. And you try to quiet those voices, but sometimes it just doesn't feel like you can. God damn, Ren, you are fantastic.
Can torture me. But you see, I rhyme. Because when I rhyme, it's like my rhymes can set me free. I shine so bright. I shine these times these rhymes come out of me.
Wow, listen. Did you hear the relief in his voice there? I shine so bright. I shine sometimes these rhymes come out of me. And it's like you can really feel his love for music and artistry. Because this is the thing about art. It's the thing about music. When you're someone who creates music or art or just anything, if you create literally anything, you know there's a sense of satisfaction, of beauty, of relief, of adoration, of all these things for the things that you create, right? You want them to be perfect, and not necessarily they can ever be perfect, because music, and I've talked about this with Jem, one of the people who watches the videos, a fantastic artist. I'm actually gonna link his music in my description, because you should definitely check him out. Fantastic lyricist. But it's kind of this release, right? Everything that you're going through, all this emotion, all these things that you carry on your shoulders, you can kind of put them into these songs and into these music, and they honestly help you reflect a lot on things that you're going through. Like, I've written songs about the loss of my grandmother, and once I wrote those, my God, it was like this understanding, this new perspective, but also this beautiful art that you now get to kind of like attach to, and it's yours. It becomes yours, but then you share it with others who can appreciate it too. And it's this moment of connection, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day. And I always say this is always about connection. And just listen to the way he kind of carries this, right? Listen to the relief and the beauty in the way that he says, like, the ending there, these rhymes set me free.
That my mind can torture me. But you see, I rhyme. Because when I rhyme, it's like my rhymes can set me free. I shine so bright. I shine these times these rhymes come out of me.
Also, one thing I wanted to point out, there's people like walking to the back. They have no idea that this legendary performance is happening in here. Oh man, that's crazy.
Set me free. I shine so bright. I shine these times these rhymes come out of me. Times are bleak, times are cruel, times are slip, times are full. Times my back is up against the wall so hard that the whole building could fall. Times are bruised, times are break, times I'm true, times I'm fake, times I'm up on the floor. It's not opening, it's swallow me for goodness sake. And I think I'm gonna break, cause the ache and it's bait. I'm awake in the war for the pain, simple man, okay. Pressing the brakes, but the brakes they break. And I'm driving my universe into a lake in the way. Waiting at the world, don't wait, we make mistakes when it's all at stake. We cook our cake, we eat our cake. Sometimes no time for double takes, but
that's just the way life goes sometimes.
But I don't wanna end up in the gutter being battered, but my trouble face down in the puddle where the sun don't shine. I'm convinced, giving the back up on the track and attacking and stacking up the beats like I did with this one. I'm packing and I'm praying. Oh Lord, take this pain away.
What? Wow, that was Amazing. Okay, so I gotta go back lyric by lyric because that had a lot, but just the general sense of it is like, man, you make that, sometimes you make that music because it really, like, there's a spot that you're in and it just feels like shit, and you don't want to be in that mindset anymore, and you could be bleeding, you could be crawling, things could be falling apart all around you, but that's why you do it, right? Because you get to put that on a paper, not only for yourself but also for others who might like be inspired by it or connect to it in some way, shape, or form, and it helps them, right? And then, oh man, I gotta go back because I missed some of it, but just the cadences that Ren brings, like the rapping style, is so cool. How he just switches in and out of it like it's nothing. It is not nothing. That is exceptionally difficult to do, especially because the tone of your voice usually changes going from singing to rapping to whatever. But also just being able to do all that is fantastic. And Sam just in the middle adding these vocals that layer onto the track and make you kind of connect in this like other side of kind of the performance. Oh, oh my god, I don't even know where that started. That was fantastic.
In my mind, I kind of mind that
A little
my
too far
mind
back.
so hard that the whole building could fall.
Okay, a little too far forward. Sorry, guys.
Me. Times I bleed, times I crawl, times I slip, times I fall. Times my back is up against the wall so hard that the whole building could fall.
Oh my god, and I think Sam's in the back layering over that, like harmonizing in the background, which is fantastic. But this is what I was saying is like it's all these tough times, right? When you're bleeding, when you're crawling, when you've slipped, when you've fallen, all those times, it's like you're experiencing this whole world kind of falling apart around you, right? And then he says, when my back is up against the wall so hard the whole building could fall. It's like, one, your back is against the wall. It's like you literally feel like there's nothing else you can do. That every option has been exhausted. Your back is now up against the wall. It's kind of the final stretch, right? You have no choice. This goes back to time being against you. But then on top of that, the whole building could fall. It's like the building, like we've talked about, is the structure in the mind, right? It's your home. It's your interior home. It's inside here. And this even goes back to like when Ren says his room is in the elephant back in Heretic, right? Ultimately, he's saying that that's his building. It's his mind. He is the building. But when your back is up against it so hard it can fall, it's almost like you're shaking in fear or just anger or frustration, and it's about to bring the whole place down. And you literally feel like you're losing control of yourself. You feel like your mind is being lost. And that's what he's kind of expressing here. Yo, holy Ren.
Times I slip, times I fall. Times my back is up against the wall so hard that the whole building could fall. Times I bruise, times I break, times I'm true, times I'm fake, times I'm up my mum when the food is not opening. Just want to be for goodness sake, and I think I'm gonna break because it aching.
You can tell I've started to look over here because that is very fast, Ren. So yeah, sometimes you're true, sometimes you're fake. It's like sometimes you're not just like in the sense of like, oh, you're a fake person, like, I gotta fit into this group, let me put on my mask, right? But also like you feel like you have to be fake because you're faking it for yourself, right? You're almost trying to convince yourself you're in a better place by faking it until you make it, right? And then on top of that, the other layer of maybe you do have to be a different person than who you want to be, and that could even be what's causing stress, right? Like anyone who has experienced a moment where they don't feel like they're being themselves or they can be themselves, that's a lot of internal anxiety that ends up getting bottled up, and that could be what we're talking about here. My God. Okay. And then the sometimes when you're waiting for kind of like the floor to swallow you open or swallow you whole, because that's what it feels like it's gotten to, right? It feels like the whole world is against you, and it's going to just swallow you whole, right? You're actually hoping for that moment, because at that point it's going to take you away from all of this, right? You're going to fall away from all the pain, all the trauma, all the suffering, all the kind of confusion, anxiety. It'll actually take you away. And that's actually what you prefer in that moment. It's not, and I think anyone who's been kind of through a traumatic moment, like you understand that that's not how it's going to be forever. But when you're in that moment, it feels like that's the case, and that's why you kind of just, you'd prefer that. But if you're standing outside of the trauma, if you're standing outside of that pain, you look back and you think maybe I didn't want to be swallowed whole, but that's what I felt like I wanted at the time. Honestly, that's so relatable. Like it's just so relatable.
Times my back is up against the wall so hard that the whole building could fall. Times I bruise, times I break, times I'm true, times I'm fake, times I'm up my mum when the food is not opening. Just want to be for goodness sake, and I think I'm gonna break because it aching is bait. I'm awake.
I just saw Sam's reaction to that. Look how excited he gets. He's like me. I'm so excited to hear that part. It was so good. But you can see he's like, as an artist, Sam is impressed by Ren. Honestly, that's dope. I love the dynamic between these two. Watch his reaction to Ren picking up this speed.
Fake, time, I'm up my moment, the food is not opening, you swallow me for goodness sake, and I think I'm gonna break, cause I ache in this bait, I'm awake in the war for the pain, Superman, okay, pressing the
Ooh, I'm awake in a world full of pain, Superman, okay, because you have to be like Superman. You have to be able to kind of resist all these pressures, all these pains. There's so much of it, but you got to act like there's nothing out there except kryptonite, and you got to pretend there's no kryptonite in the room, because if you don't, everything starts to feel like it's falling apart.
You swallow me for goodness sake, and I think I'm gonna break, cause I ache in this bait, I'm awake in the war for the pain, Superman, okay, pressing the brakes, but the brakes they break, and I'm driving my universe into a lake in the way, waiting at the
Oh, pressing the brakes, but the brakes they break. I love these like triple uses of words. He's actually done this a lot, and I don't know if I've missed some of these before, but he's so good at it. But the brakes they break, right? Like he's stepping on them, but he's trying to stop things from going in this direction, but it feels like the brakes are broken. They're just, it's out of control. It's just full send. The speed is just picking up, it's mounting, it's ramping, right? And you have no way to stop it. It feels like it's out of your control. Oh man.
for the pain, Superman, okay, pressing the brakes, but the brakes they break, and I'm driving my universe into a lake in the way, waiting at the
Oh, driving my universe into a lake, because it's like, you know, like it's the idea of like you crash into this water, but think about back to Heretic when we're talking about the water could be your problem. So actually this might be a double play on, like, it feels like your world is crashing, quite literally crashing into a lake where you're starting to suffer and drown in all your sorrows, but it also could be that now you're driving full force into the lake, trying to approach your pains, trying to deal and reflect on your pains, trying to kind of solve them. But the only way to do that is from inside the actual problems, right? You can't do it from just standing outside and trying to observe. You have to actually dive into it. And this goes back to reflecting like on all the issues like we were talking about at the start. God damn, man. Ren, stop being so good. Holy smokes.
for the pain, Superman, okay, pressing the brakes, but the brakes they break, and I'm driving my universe into a lake in the way, waiting at the world, don't wait, we make mistakes when it's all at stake, we cook our cake, we eat our cake, sometimes no time for double takes, but
That's just the way life goes sometimes.
I don't wanna end up in the gutter being battered, but my trouble face down in the puddle where the sun don't shine, I'm gonna give it a backbone, the track and attacking, and stacking up the beats like I did with this one, I'm packing and I'm praying. Oh Lord, take this pain away.
Okay. Wow. And this is it, right? It's like you don't want to go out just kind of laying on the floor, right? Because you gotta fight for your own happiness sometimes, even though you shouldn't have to. Sometimes it ends up being that way. And that's the struggle, right? It's like learning how to fight through the pains and fight through the traumas, fight through the stresses. And that's what he's saying here is like, I'm not going to go out just lying down on the floor. There's no way I'm doing that. I'm not just going to let my troubles beat me up and batter me. That's not what I'm going to let happen here. I'm going to fight back. I am going to stand up on my own 2 feet and give it right back, because I'm not letting the world break me, right? What a just amazing kind of heartfelt, inspirational concept there, right? You got to fight back. And he's ultimately saying like he's putting his beats together, right? And then he's packaging all of this pain and trauma and suffering, and then he's using that as a weapon that he's learning from, like taking lessons from each one of those and then saying, instead of succumbing to it, I'm going to become greater than my problems. And that's what he's saying here. And then he ends it with, I'm praying, oh Lord, please take this pain away. So even though you're still kind of serving up to the trouble, like I'm here to fight back now, even still there's that part of you that's like, please just take it away. Just make me not have to deal with this. But it's kind of the best of both worlds, because if it does get taken away, fantastic. But even if it doesn't, you're able to fight back, right? And that's what's important, is not fighting, not choosing to fight, but knowing how to fight when you need to. That's the most important thing. And that's kind of what he's saying here. Oh my God. Something else that he said is, we cook our cake, we eat our cake. And it's like, almost like when you think of like, oh, you can't have your cake and eat it too. A lot of people overindulge, right? And then we get into this point where it's like everything after a while starts to feel like you have overindulged. Whether that means that you've kind of taken from all your resources, like your money or whatever, or whether that means now everything in the light of having this moment where you were consuming everything, like having your cake and eating it too, everything else feels bleak and dull. And that also can become a problem, which is such a great visual for that. We cook our cake, we eat our cake. Oh man, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. This whole thing is awesome.
Hit subscribe for more from Music Crowns. Right there.
Oh, I love the people recording are also really enjoying that. Holy smokes, that was a banger. Oh my god. The level of introspection on that one, I don't even like it's so tricky to make a song that like kind of is bumping like the way that this song was, but also make it very solid meaning wise and just like what it's the purpose of the song. And you can tell like the way that he kind of structured it, or I don't know if they both worked on this, they probably both compiled this together. The way that they structured this is so well done because it quite literally like you can feel the ups and downs of life, right? Like we have these speed ups, these slowdowns, these emotional kind of turmoils that we end up in that make us feel like we're being held back, but then we're speeding into the problems. And just the way that he's kind of structured it is so beautiful. And I freaking love Ren, his connection to the song is unmatched. He is the song. You know what I mean? Sam is fantastic. Do not get me wrong. Sam is an amazing performer. But the way that Ren like digs into the song, it's almost like he quite literally becomes it. And that's just so freaking cool to see, because that means that not only does he connect with his own music to this level, but on top of that, it's like the music is this escape for him, right? He's becoming the music when he is performing the music. And so it's this multi-layered appreciation, and I love it. Overall, in terms of the concept, like actually we'll talk about the concept in a second. I want to go back and just rewatch the whole thing because this is fantastic. I will put a timestamp in for if you want to hear the after, like the outro words, I guess. I don't know. But I'm going to just go back and listen to it. So if you want to listen with me, feel free to stay here. I apologize. It is 5 minutes. It's a long one, but it's cool.
Hey, we're here for Music Crowns. My name's Ren. This is Sam Tompkins. And we're going to play one of our songs called Blind Eyes. Thank you. I hope you enjoy it.
Oh, the sincerity of like, I hope you enjoy it. He looks at the camera, making sure that he knows that he's talking to us.
This lighter don't work. No.
Silk.
No flame to spark my goal.
You can hear the hollowness, like the sadness.
My Nike's laced in dirt. Oh. I've ended up treading on my own soul. Yeah. My headphones only working on the left side, but I try to live the right life. My eyes wide and I strive to stop my demons gripping, ripping from the inside. This road is dark and I can't find the batteries for my flashlight. I'm blind-eyed and I'm tired.
These drugs don't work.
Softness of that, I love it.
Pain, it takes control.
Oh man.
Got a blood-stained shirt. And I feel like I'm always being chased by the devil. I tried to talk, but I can't seem to get my spoken words right. And I tried to keep my stutter light. And this life can be ish right. Cut you like a flick knife, twist and make you sick, right? And I think maybe I'd be better off alone. So I redirect the calls from my phone. I learned so many lessons from depression, but in essence I'm just wishing that these bad thoughts were gone.
Yeah. Sometimes, sometimes, sometimes,
Ren is awesome.
sometimes.
Sometimes I get these times when it's like time works against me. In my mind, I kind of mind that my mind can torture me. But you see, I rhyme. Because when I rhyme, it's like my rhymes can set me free. I shine so bright. I shine these times, these rhymes come out of me. Times I bleed, times I crawl, times I slip, times I fall. Times my back is up against the wall so hard that the whole building could fall. Times I bruise, times I break, times I'm true, times I'm fake, times I'm up a moment when the food is not opening. Just want to be for goodness sake. Nothing I'm gonna break cause I ache. I'm awake in the war for the pain, Superman, okay. Pressing the brakes, but the brakes stay breaking. I'm driving my universe into a lake in the way. Waiting at the world, don't wait. We make mistakes when it's all at stake. We cook our cake, we eat our cake. Sometimes no time for double takes, but
That's just the way life goes sometimes.
I don't wanna end up in the gutter being battered, but my trouble face down in the puddle where the sun don't shine. I'm coming to give it a backbone, the track and attacking, the stacking up the beast like I did with this one. I'm packing and I'm praying. Oh Lord, take this pain away.
God damn.
I'm blind.
Oh my god. That is so good. That I hope this version is on Spotify cuz god damn was that amazing. Just the performance alone is fantastic, but then you add the layers of lyricism, you add the way that they bounce off of each other, you add the harmonizing, just everything. Everything was so good, so fantastic. And I love that at the end we kind of end with this like inspirational punch, you know what I mean? It's not just like we're talking about the pains and problems the whole time because that happens, right? You go through pains and problems, but it's about how you fight back against those problems. It's about how you step up to life and say, you know what, I'm done. I'm taking the reins, right? Because it's possible to just let go and succumb to the issues that you're dealing with, but you don't want to do that, right? Because there's always going to be a brighter day. That's something that you have to believe in because it's true, right? Things will get better, and we need to strive for those times, right? We need to fight for those times, and sometimes it's hard, but it needs to be done. And we have the support of others, right? And this is why we do this music is perfect. This is the reason that music is so amazing, because it inspires others to do the same. And that's literally what they're trying to do here. Just fantastic all around. My god. Well, okay. Well, I'm going to re-listen to this probably like 30 times, quite honestly. Seems to be a common theme with Ren, but Sam Tompkins with the vocals just killing it. Okay, awesome. Oh my god. Okay, I gotta stop gushing. If you liked what you saw, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I hope that your day, your week is better than your day, your month is better than your week, and your year is better than your month. And until next time, love you all, take care, and we'll see you then.